Okay, if you didn't see my last video, go watch it. Also, spoilers for the plot of Genshin. To summarize, I wanted to write a fanfic, I did some research, I found some interesting lore, I wanted to find out why an Abyss Mage wanted to steal this book from Lisa's story quest, and what secret it contained. The most damning piece of intel we can tell is the summary of the 7th book, which speaks of the Night Mother's prophecy. In the Pale Princess and the 6 Pygmies, there's land ruled over by the Night Mother, where everything's evil and nothing grows except for this one place known as the Moonlight Forest, where everyone has light skin, blue eyes, and light-colored hair. This place is ruled over by the Pale Princess. Now, while we only officially have the first volume, we can access the other 6 on Honey Impact. Pale Princess wishes to follow the moonlight back to its source and show her people a world without shadows. She then meets the Prince of the Kingdom of Light, who promises to take her to the Kingdom of Light and save her people from the shadows. On their journey, they meet 6 pygmies who are creatures of the land of the night, and the prince and the princess save them from various trials. The pygmies swear loyalty to the prince and princess, but their innate wickedness get the better of them and they decide to betray their saviors. Except one pygmy felt guilty about it all, but was too wicked to speak up. In the end, the pygmies poisoned the prince's water. In their celebration, the prince's soul cursed the pygmies to always feel like they are being cooked alive in a huge pot. At this point, the guilty pygmy wraps the prince's body up in a huge tablecloth and brings it to the princess in hopes she can help. But the princess, who's been asleep this whole time, was already captured by the Night Mother at the Fountain of Purity. The Night Mother tortures the princess by cursing the people of the Moonlight Forest before her eyes. The Night Mother leaves the distraught pygmy with a prophecy. In 1,000 years' time, my greatest foe will descend. He wears a sword that heralds the dawn and wears armor that can reflect the shining sunlight. He shall destroy my kingdom and bring the prince back to life. The princess will then be free from her eternal torment. Until then, I fear not a single soul in the land of night. For nothing will bring an end to my kingdom except for the catastrophe foretold by the prophecy. As for you, the treacherous slave that poisoned his master, fate shall see that you get what you deserve. The Night Mother then turns into a huge pile of sludge consisting of mud and worms. The pygmy is left to wallow in his own grief. He hides the body of the prince in a tree. Okay, so a lot of interesting stuff here. Even though none of it's concrete, the Land of Night sounds like it's referencing the Abyss. Now, I haven't actually gotten that far in the Inazuma Archon quest, so I'll try not to make a lot of generalizations about how the Abyss is run now, because I don't want to look like an idiot. But if I do, who cares? But since it's canon that both Abyss Mages and Hilichurls are cursed inhabitants of Conria, and in this story both the pygmies and the inhabitants of the Moonlight Kingdom are cursed, it is not hard to think that these cursed individuals are a metaphor for cursed Conrians. The most interesting person is Dainsleif. We know he's an immortal from the time before the fall of Conria. He has the traits of the people of the Moonlight Kingdom. He shares in their hatred for the gods who allegedly destroyed Conria. But he's very against the Abyss's plan to get revenge for the fall of Conria. He's also been cursed, but with immortality for failing to protect Conria. Due to his motivations and his backstory, I theorize he might be that pygmy who regretted what he did and for failing to protect his master when he first regretted it. I know it's not a lot to go on, but who curses someone with immortality for failing to protect something? It's just insult to injury. Unless he actually played a part in the fall of Conria and did nothing to stop it. It would explain why he opposes the Abyss. He doesn't want revenge for what happened to Conria if he had a part to play in its downfall. All he wants is to not see another country destroyed. Even though he has the traits of the Moonlight Kingdom, but if he were a pygmy, he can't be because pygmies were part of the Night Mother's realm? I don't know. It's a metaphor dressed up as a fairy tale. I'm not taking it too literally. Now we have Kaya, someone who's also from Conria, but unlike Dainsleif, he's not immortal. He's from modern-day Conria, and he doesn't have light hair or skin, but he does have blue eyes. So it got me thinking of the Kingdom of Light. Maybe Kaya was from, the sunny side of Conria, or the survivors had to escape to a sunnier place, and that's where the dark tone ancestry comes from. The name of Mondstadt and Liyue are the next big clues. Mondstadt is German for Moon City, and Liyue means precious moonstone, which might be a connection, or it's just a reference to Noculus Jade, which may be Genshin's version of lapis lazuli. There's also the part that Mondstadt used to be buried under snow and nothing could grow there, so maybe it was once the land of night. Also, the history of Dragonspine seems to be similar to the fairy tale because that also involves a princess whose kingdom fell. There's also deactivated rune guards, which would have come from Conrio, with some kinds of codes on them. Next, I'm wondering who the prince and the princess are, and who this foe is that will save them. My first thought is the prince and princess are Aether and Lumine respectively. In each other's stories, they are referred to as the prince or princess. They don't have blue eyes, but they are fair-skinned with light hair. And I know they're both the canon protagonists, but all the promotional material shows Aether as the main character, so going by that logic, the fact that he's been asleep for 500 years only to be awoken, just like the prince from the fairy tale will one be, the princess is the one in eternal torment, which might be Lumine, and that's why she's gone old leader of the Abyss. Also, by that logic, that could make Paimon the fated foe, because if she revived the Traveler... But no, they met after the Traveler had woken up. There's also theories that Travelers wield the element of light, where a Prince of Light and a Princess of Moonlight would fit. The problem with all this is the Traveler might not know what's going on, but they do have their memories intact. I think they'd know more of Conria's history if they had been betrayed or something. Also, they're aliens, basically. They're not of this world. But the biggest spanner in the work, though, is the fairy tale. The prince and princess are referred to as lovers, and well, I'm not going to go down that road. Another contender for the foe from the prophecy is Diluc. This is because my obvious bias towards him, but the prophecy did say the foe would have a sword that heralds the dawn, and Diluc is of the Dawn Winery. His name literally means dawn. Fun fact, Diluc's father, Krempus's name, means twilight. The Traveler could also be the legendary foe from those theories of their element being light. Also, I have read a lot of stories where the protagonist is usually the legendary hero of the prophecy, so that fits. As for who the Night Mother is, it could be the unnamed god, for big bad reasons. Might be the Tsaritsa, the cryo-archon from Snezhnaya, and the head of the Fatui. There's the obvious cryo, ice, eternal winter, can have the same meaning as eternal night thing. Also, there is another reason, but it's incredibly niche. Okay, in the fairy tale, there's a reference to a night gaunt, which is referenced as one of the Night Mother's minions. Now, if you Google Night Gaunt, you get a Lovecraftian monster of that name, which is basically a big winged monster that looks very similar to a drake. Urtha the Drake was a monster that terrorized Mondstadt for hundreds of years. Urtha was killed by one of the Fatui harbingers that indebted Mondstadt to the Fatui. But previously, Urtha was responsible for the death of Diluc's father. That attack was actually instigated by the Fatui. If the Tsaritsa could have influence over Ursa, this could make her a contender for the Night Mother, but it's like a really long shot. She can also only control Ursa with the use of Tui technology, but it's still fun to speculate. Also, this Fountain of Purity, which was where the princess was sleeping before she was captured, and that the Night Mother eventually corrupted, I was speculating where this fountain could be, and I had no idea where it could be till I remembered Fontaine, the land of Hydro, is French for fountain. So perhaps there's a link there. And the prince's body was stashed in a tree, and there's lots of giant trees about the place. So there's that. Yeah, that's kind of all I got to go on right now. So thanks for theorizing with me. Bye.